Great. Selections. So we will be talking about if statement, mainly about if statement to make some decisions. This is a command in Java to ask some questions, and then we'll make the decision based on these questions. We'll learn about if statement, one-way, two-way, nested if statement, and switch statement as well. So we'll start my lesson with the example that we did in the previous class. You remember this example to find the area of a circle, correct? So we defined some variables, float radius, float area, and we defined the pi as final. You remember what's the final is, guys?
It's a constant.
Excellent. Yeah, it is a constant. So we define the pi as a constant that will never change. And then we use the scanner here to accept input from the user. So we display the message asking the user to enter the radius. And then here we are accepting input. So next float, we ask for float, and because the radius is of type float. Good. Okay. So James, you are here. Let me mark you up. Give me a second, guys. James. And then we can do the calculation to find the area and then print the results. So when we run the program, we are waiting for the user input here. And let's say the user entered 2, and here is the area. So now we want to update this example and want to make sure that the entered value, the entered radius is valid. And we will assume that the valid or a valid radius is a positive number. In case that the user enter an invalid input, or in other words, a negative input, then we will reject that. We'll tell the user this is a negative value, or this improper or incorrect input, and based on that we'll either display the message, the error message, or doing the calculation to find the area. Okay, so this is the plan and this is the scenario. In order to do so, we will need to know about the if statement, and the if statement starts with the keyword if, and then parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we need to write the condition. We want to check, we want to ask if the radius is positive. So the name of the variable is radius, correct? How can I ask in math if the radius is positive? I can't write a sentence if
greater than or equal or less than.
Yes, good job. If this is greater than, or if you want to include the 0 or not, so let's say it's greater than 0, then this will be considered as positive, acceptable. And let's say that we don't want to accept 0, so that's why we put it as bigger than 0. So that means is positive, more than 0. And if this is the case, then do the calculation. You see here? Now, if this is true, if this condition is true, do this calculation. Find the area. Okay? That's it. So let's run the program here. And let's say the radius is 5. We good. We have the output. Nothing wrong. No issues, no problem. If I run it again,
What would happen if you put -2?
Yeah,
And the
I'm about to do so. So now, in case that the radius is positive, everything is as expected, and the area will be calculated. But let's say it's, as you said, -2, then you see the area is 0. It didn't do the calculation. Why it's 0? Because we started with the initial value here, 0. Okay. Now we can do other changes. We can improve this code. We don't want to see zeros or this message. Let's say we want to see an error message. Okay. So I will do the opposite way, or I can do this way. In case that the radius is positive, then I will ask the computer to do the following steps.
So do you have to make sure, since it's an if statement, do you have to make sure it's underneath it, tabbed underneath it, or?
Yeah, good question. The if statement will affect the next statement. Okay, the next line. The next line will be part of the if statement. But if you want more than one statement to be inside your if condition, if statement condition, then I am using the curly braces to include both lines. You see those? So this
So we
is
can
very
use those?
important. I'm sorry.
So we can use those calibrations to do that?
Yes, I'm using the curly braces to say this is a block that will be executed in case that this condition is true.
Oh, okay.
So by adding these curly braces, the result will be changed now. Look at this. If it is positive, I'm good. I have the area. You see here? Now run it again. -9, nothing. No area displayed, no calculations done, and we are done with this. Okay, I know you might ask how to add an error message or how to show the user that we enter something wrong, right? So this is the next step that I am about to teach you. But for now, I want to focus on a couple of things. First, if you want to check for any condition, you can use the if statement and then the condition, the expression. The expression here, while it's true, if the condition is true, then the following statement will be triggered. If you want two statements to be triggered, just in case that this is true, then what we need the curly braces to include them underneath the if statement. Again, without the curly braces, just line 30 will be affected by the if statement, belongs to the if statement. This line is outside the if statement, even if we indent or move it back. So no changes. I do this way or do that way, this will not change anything. And still the if statement is controlling the following line, which is 30. But if I want again to control both of the statements here underneath, to put both of them underneath the if statement, then I need the begin and end these curly braces. Is that clear? Any questions? So this is the if statement, and now let me show you the diagram for the if statement. Here, the if statement starts with the keyword if, and then the expression followed by one statement or more. Okay, if you have more than one statement to be checked and to be executed, then you need the curly braces. If you have one and only one statement, then it's up to you, optional, to use the curly braces or not. And this is the flow chart here underneath. In case that the Boolean expression is true, then we'll run the statements. If it is not, then the statements will be skipped. So that's why it's a selection statement. It's a control statement that you can control the flow of your program and make it jump a statement or a couple of statements in case that the condition is false. Okay. Okay, so this is one scenario that is handling just in case that the condition is true, right? This is just in case that condition is true. And that's why this kind of example called like one-way if statement. One-way if statement. We don't have the other situation where the radius is negative. So to update this program and to learn about two-way if statement, we need to use the else. Else means otherwise, means that the condition, in case that the condition is false, then I can print something saying invalid inputs. Okay, invalid input. So now I added the else, which is the opposite to this condition. If the user entered 0 or negative, then this message will be displayed and no calculations will be done and the area will be skipped and will not calculate the area. So let's run it now and let's see. Enter the radius. Let's say 4. We good. Here is the result. Here is the area, and we found it. If I run the program again, and let's say negative 2 or negative 3, here we are, invalid. You see now we have two-way. We have the condition if statement and the else the other way in case that the input is not matching the condition. In case, again, in case the condition is false or the expression is false. Okay, now if you want to run a couple of statements in case that the else triggered, then again you need the begin and end, you need the curly braces. But if you have just one statement, it's up to you. You can use the curly braces or not. So the curly braces are just kind of a block or to enclose a statement or a couple of statements in case of the else or in else case. Any questions now? Is that clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Yeah, I think you explained it pretty well.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Great. If and else. So the else is the opposite. There is no need to ask again. You might ask why I don't do like this. Instead of else, I will ask if the radius is less than or equal to 0. Yes, you can. The same results. By why you put more code. Instead of write all of these words, you can replace it by else, which is the opposite. This is the rule, is opposite to this rule. Okay, I mean, this expression is the opposite of this expression. And you can do these two if statements, two separate if statements, or you can do, as we did, the else, the opposite, which is the opposite of the condition. Okay. So this is what is called the two-way if statement. We have two branches. Either this branch will be executed here, this block, or this block. One of them will be executed at a time, not both, and one of them will be triggered. If I have anything here outside, let's say thanks. Oh, what's this? Thanks. Okay. Then this statement will be triggered all the time, right? Because it's outside the if else statement. It's outside. So when I run it, if I enter something 8, it's good. I can see the thanks because the thanks is not part of the if statement, outside. And here, negative 4, the same. I can see the invalid and I can see the thanks. Why is that? Because the statement here is outside the if else block. So you need to pay attention where to write your statements, the sequence, the braces, and what to include inside the if statement or the else statement. This can be done through learning more about the problem and the solution, and to find out what is the best scenario and what is the best design. So let me show you, here is the two-way that we just did, the two-way if statement. You see here why it's two-way, because we have two branches, two directions. In case that the expression, which was radius greater than 0, if it is true, then we'll execute some statements. If it is false, then we'll go to the other branch, to the other direction, to the else statement, and to run something else. And then they will meet at the end to execute anything after, which is in our case the thanks message. It's outside the if else statement and will be executed at any and all time. Okay, so if condition and else, the opposite. This one is the same as we did. Okay. Here is another example to use nested if statement, multiple if statements. So here is to display the grade based on the score. So if the student score is greater than or equal to 90, then we can say your grade is A. Else means what? Means something less than 90, correct? Less than 90.
Otherwise,
Yes, otherwise less than 90. So if this is, if the score now is greater than 80 or equal to 80, then it's B. Else to this one, if it is not within this range, we will say, is it greater than or equal to 70? It's C. If not, then again, asking again, is it greater than 60? Yes. D. No. No luck. You get the F. Okay. So this is what we can do. It's a nested if statement, a question inside another question. Okay. So I cannot say that if your score is less than 90, I cannot say it's B. I need to ask again, because it's maybe it's 65. So I cannot say B. So I keep asking until I reach the last question and to find what is your grade. Okay. Otherwise, if none of the above, you didn't get above 90, above 80, above 70, 60, then else. Otherwise, just the F is left. Okay, just the grade will be F. So regardless of your grade, it's 50, 40, 30, 20, 0, all will be treated equally as F. That's why we included in, inside the else statement. You see that? So it's a nested if statement. I'll give you another example to help you understand the nested if statement, which is a question inside the other, okay, that we need a lot. Here is on the other side, here is the same solution, but in a better way. Instead of writing them in separate lines, else, and then if, right away, else if, else if, else if, and then else at the end. Okay, so shorter, more organized design. One more hint, one more note here. The else statement belongs to the recent if statement all the time. So this else statement that I am pointing to is what? Belongs to the if statement that is checking, is it greater than or equal to 70? You see that? So why? Because it's the closest else to the closest if, okay? I mean the else to the closest if, or the recent if statement, okay? Here is the flowchart for the nested if statement. If the score is greater than 90, then your grade is A and go outside your block or move next. If it is false, then is it greater than 80? If this true, then it's B. Again, if not, then 70, if not 60, if not, then F. So this is the flowchart to represent the problem, this problem to find the right grade for your score. Okay. Let's start a new project to have another example. And here, in this example, assume that we have two numbers. Let's start with an easy one, two numbers, and we want to find the maximum number between these two numbers. So to find the max, this is the problem, to find the maximum number. So first, I will say I will have two variables, X and Y. These are the two variables, represent the numbers that I want to compare to each other. And then I will use the scanner to accept input from the user. This is what we learned in the previous lessons. And you will see the red line here. This because we didn't import the package here. Import Java dot scanner. See, you can type it or you can click on the icon that might appear next to the line to add this at the top to import this class, the scanner, to be able to use the scanner here to accept input from the user. Next, I will display a message saying, please enter the first number. Okay, this is just a message to show the user, and I will save it in the variable X, input dot next integer, because X is of type integer, so that's why I said next integer. So this is for the first number. I will do the same, repeat these two lines, okay? But for now, the second. second number, and here is Y. So here we declared the two variables. Here we declared the scanner. Here we display the message. We accepted the first variable X, and here a message to accept the Y. You see, I changed it to Y here. So I use the same scanner input, and the first time to be the value entered by the user to be saved in X, and the second value entered by the user will be saved in Y. Now I have the two values or the two variables. It's time to check. So to check, I have one of the tools available for me is the if statement. And here I will ask if X is greater than Y. So I'm using the relational operation here. Greater than is similar to what you use in math. And here is greater than Y. If this is the case, then I can say max is, and here X, right? The maximum number is X. Else, what? The max is Y, right? So these are the two-way if else. If X is greater than Y, then just go ahead and display the X is the maximum number. Otherwise, it's Y and display the max. Any questions here?
No.
Does the scanner have to be declared in the main?
Yes, because we just have the main here. We don't have any other methods or classes. So this is what we do in here.
For your if function, wouldn't you want to make one that if the numbers were equal?
Yeah, good one. You can include it within the if statement here, or you can add one more if statement to say if they are equal, then we'll treat them differently. Okay, so you can say if X equals to Y, you see here, then I can say the same. Okay, and then here we can say else, okay, if and so on. I will explain this later, but let's the students understand the first part and we'll update it. Good, thank you. Now let's run this program and enter the first number, let's say 7, and the second one is 10, then the output is 10, which is max. Now run it again. If the first number is 5 and the second is 2, the max is 5. It's giving me the maximum number here between these two numbers. We didn't consider the equal for now, just which one is greater than the other. If you want to consider the equal, then we can say here, adding this statement, if they are equal, then display this message. Else, if the first is greater than the second, or otherwise this.
Why do you put two equal signs?
Yes, good question. Here, this is a Boolean expression. This is to check. We are not assigning the value of Y to X, right? We want to ask. If you want to ask to check if this is true or false, we need to use this Boolean assignment, which is the double equal.
How's come you don't have to do that with the greater sign? You know, X is greater than
Yeah,
Y.
because this is a relational operation. You are not assigning one to the other. You are checking, right? And
Right.
this is here the same. You are not assigning one to the other. You are checking. If you are checking, use double equal Boolean 1. But if you see here, we use just one equal because we want to assign the input to Y. Got it? Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Excellent. So now you have nested if statement. This is the first condition. If it is false, then we'll do this condition, else that condition. Otherwise, I mean. Okay, this is the Boolean. So let me show you here. I'm about to show you the where is this? Let me find it. There is a table showing you all the relational operations. It's somewhere here.
Slide 5.
Slide 5.
You can also find it in the book. It's chapter 3, page 78.
Yes, excellent. Thank you for both of you. It's slide number 5. You see here? So relational operators, we have, this is in Java and here in math, right? So less than is the same, less than in math. Less than or equal, we do these two operator, less than and followed by equal. In math, we do like this, less than, and there is a hyphen underneath. But this is in Java. You see here, greater than, the same, greater than or equal. And here is the equal to, equivalent here. Is it true or false? So the result of your comparison will be either true or false. The last one is not equal. In math, we do like this. But in Java, we'll do exclamation mark and then equal. The exclamation mark means not equal. See that? Not equal. This is equal. Is it equal? Boolean. Is it greater than? Is it greater? Less than? Less or equal. And here less than. See those? Okay, now let's move on and take third example. And now we'll make it, you want more complicated examples or not, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to see one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so to know and to give you the idea how to solve these problems. So now we have two variables, two numbers to be compared. How about three numbers, X, Y, and Z? We have three and we want to compare them. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. We'll accept, I'm copying this, okay? And here instead of Y, Z. So we are accepting three inputs, X, Y, and Z. We have three. Now we have to reflect that on our if statement. So look at this and watch it carefully. If X is bigger than Y, then can I say that X is the max?
No, because Z might be larger than.
You see? So still, I cannot decide before checking if X is bigger than Z as well. That's why I need to add another if statement and saying if it is bigger than Z. Now, yes, if it is bigger than X and bigger than Y and bigger than Z, then go ahead. I'm good. The X is the biggest number, right? Else, if not, then what? Else, let me ask you this. To whom this else belongs? The outer if statement or the inner if statement?
The most recent would be the inner.
Excellent.
Inner statement.
Yes, correct. So that means this is still valid, but this one is false because we say else, right? So else what? What is the conclusion now?
Z.
Z.
Yes, good job. Z. You see that? Because X, yes, is bigger than Y. And you said, no, Z is bigger than X. So Z bigger than X and X is bigger than Y. So Z is the largest number, right? Good. This is one part. Is that all? Are we good? Are we done? Are these all the cases?
You
the
have to
scenarios?
make conditions for Y if Y is bigger, don't you?
Right. Good job. So still we are not finished yet. We have to validate and check all the other cases. This in case that the X is the largest number or the Z is the largest number. But now in case that this condition is false, so those will be skipped. And now I will say else if again X greater than Y is false. So that means Y is bigger than X, right? So what's left? Y is bigger than X. I will say, is Y bigger than Z as well? If yes, then max is what? Y, correct? So here we say, if this is not true, then who is bigger, X or Y?
Y would be bigger.
Y bigger. Now, I have to ask one more question. Is Y bigger than Z? If yes, then Y is the largest number. Else, what? Well, no, it's not here. Outside this one. Else, the biggest number is, let me copy this, is Z. Let me test it and we'll see. So we'll take three scenarios. The first scenario is we'll put the first one is bigger, the second one is less, and this less. This is the first one. Let me write this down, 4, 2, 1. And then we'll change the scenario. We'll say 1, 4, 2. And now the other scenario is this, the one in the middle, which is Y is the bigger, okay? And then we'll change this to the third scenario where 1, 2, 4, where the last one, the Z is bigger. You see here? So I'm just giving random numbers to consider all the cases. The first case is the first number is the max, the second case, the second number, and the third is the third one, which is the Z. So let's start with the first one, 4, 2, 1. The max is 4, which is true in this case. You see, 4, 2, 1. Let's run this code again with another combination, 1, 4, 2. You see, 4 in the middle represents Y, and it's giving me the max is 4. Now let's run it again, 1, 2, 4. All the time, it's giving me the maximum number regardless of its position or the variable, okay? So now you can keep testing, keep trying, seeing if there are other alternatives, then you can go back and check and update your code. We didn't consider the equal for now. We just want to find the maximum number. And if they are equal, then we'll receive the same output, which is the number, the biggest number that is maybe equivalent to others. From this example, we learned how to use the nested if statement. So you can see we have a couple of if statements and couple of else and else if, else, and all of that. Okay, so this is the thing, and here is the program. Let me see if I can copy this to here. I will copy. Copy this and paste it in the chat room and see if this will be good. Can you see it on the chat room? Did you receive it, guys?
No, we don't see it in the chat. I don't.
No, I don't see it.
Maybe I didn't press enter. Yeah, here we
No,
go.
I didn't.
Yeah, now check it now.
I got nothing.
Oh, okay. So let me do the other way.
There you
I
go.
got it.
Yeah, you see, so I copy paste, so you have it, save it for your record, and you can modify it, update it, and play with this code. Good. Good, good, good. Let's move next.
Got it.
Excellent. Here we have logical operators. We talked about relational operators like greater than, less than, equal, not equal. You remember those. Here's another table showing you the logical operators. And now you know what this means, right? The exclamation mark means not. If you want to negate any condition, then proceed it with the not. Okay? If it is not true, if it is not whatever, okay? And this is the end. If you want to find the answer for two conditions together, if you want to combine two conditions and to make sure that both of them are true, then you can use the and. And this is the or. You see here, the or. One of the conditions will be true, one or two of them. Let me show you here. So we can redo this example in other way. Okay, so let me update this program. And here we will say, and look at this. Just focus on this part. Okay, just focus on the shaded, highlighted parts. Forget about the rest underneath. Now here, I combined the two conditions together. Is x greater than y and x greater than z? Then I can decide if that the x is the max number. You see that? So you can do this without if statement, without nested if statement if you like. So that's why I can tell you that you can solve the same problem in many ways. So here we are. Now we have the first condition, and then we'll check the second condition. Is y bigger than x and y bigger than z? Then y is the biggest number. I can keep asking. Okay, if Z is bigger than X and Z is bigger than Y, then Z is the largest number here. You see that? So that's why we need to know about more instructions and commands. Okay. So here I use the AND logical operator. That means I have to have both of these conditions true to be true to trigger this line. Got it? So I need to have X bigger than Y, and it's a must. X is bigger than Z. It's a must. Both of them must be satisfied to make this condition or this expression true to activate the statement. And now here again, asking again two conditions. So we are combining two conditions using the logical operator AND. Remember, the AND needs to have both conditions to be true to give you the answer as true. I mean, the result of the if statement is true.
What's the benefit to using a double and versus an else statement? Like what makes one better than the other?
Okay. So you can use both, but based on the scenario, based on the options that you have, you can sometimes shorten your code if you combine them in one if statement. So I'm shortening it in one statement to do this. I can do both situations, both scenarios, and you can validate those two. You can go with two if statements or just combine them in one. Okay.
Is that just easier for the person who's making the code, or is there another reason why you would want a shorter code? Just to clean it up?
Yes, clean it up. Good answer. One of the choices, clean it up. Okay. Sometimes we cannot do more than one if statement, or this will be more complicated, or inefficient programming or inefficient coding. So if you can do this, go ahead. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
You want. Okay, so we talked about the AND, and we have the OR as well. You see the OR? The OR means what? To make this condition true, the if statement to be true, we need to have at least one of these two conditions true. So this is condition one, and this is condition two. Okay, both are inside the if statement. Good. So to know what is the result of the evaluation of this expression, we need to have one of them at least true to get the result as true. But here with the, if I compare it to the AND logical operator, to make this if statement condition or expression true, we have to have both of the conditions to be true. Otherwise, the evaluation of this expression is false. This is for the AND. For the OR, no, one of them at least must be true, which is not applicable in this example. I don't use the OR. I should not use the OR here because I want to make sure that both of them are true. Okay, but just to show you where to use the OR and how it's typed. So the OR, you can hold the shift and there is a bar above the enter key on your keyboard. Hit it twice, and this is the OR. You see that? Okay. Here is the truth table about the not, the AND, and the or, okay? So let me give you one of the examples here. If the first condition is false and the second condition is false, that the results, the evaluation of the operator will be false. So I'll give you an example. If the age is less than or equal to 18 and the weight is less than 140. Assume here it's giving you the weight, the age is 24 and the weight is 140. Let's compare this input to this expression. Now, is the age less than 18? True or false?
Nope, it's false.
It's false. And is the weight less than 40?
Nope.
False.
So false and false results as what? False. You see that?
Mhm.
Now, let's do this one. Is the age greater than 18?
Yeah,
True, right? And is the weight greater than 140?
false.
False.
False. So true and false, the result is false, no go. Here, if both of the conditions are true, then we can get the true. So the true is just in one case if both of the conditions are true. On the opposite side, on the other side with the or, all the cases are true except one case when both of the conditions are false. If both of the conditions are false, then the evaluation will be false. Otherwise, it's true. Okay, just review this for your record and check it. Now, we are almost done with the first selection statement, which is the if statement, if else statement, and nested if. One way, two way, and multiple ways if statements. We cover that with more than one example. Here we have another command to select or to switch between alternatives or choices. This statement called as a switch statement. The switch is a keyword. The switch statement is similar little bit and somehow to the if statement. Switch, and this is the status, or this is the variable that we are about to check. Switch status. If the status is 0, then we'll do something. Here's a number. We can set number or character. If it is 1, then we'll do this statement. If it is 2, we'll do that. If it is 3, and so on. The else here called as defaults. Default means else. Otherwise, if it is not one of these cases, then it's time to the else statement. Otherwise, okay? So this is another alternative to switch statement, but not all the time I can replace the if with a switch statement, because the switch statement is limited and we cannot do some expressions or compound expressions or complex expressions. We have a variable and the variable must be one of these cases, and we can assign numbers or characters. We cannot do strings or some complicated cases. So this is the general format of the switch statement. And again, the switch statement is to select one of the alternatives that you can provide. I'll give you a full example to help you understand the switch statement. So switch is the keyword. The status is a variable that you want to check its status. Case is a keyword. 0 is the value that you are expecting of this variable. So case the status is 0, you will do the statement. and then follow that with a break to exit the switch statement. In case that the status is not 0, then we'll go and the compiler will check the second case, which is it 1? Is the value of status is 1? If it is yes, this will be executed, break to exit. And we'll keep going on. The compiler will do this job for you, comparing and matching the right case. If none of them are good, then we'll go with the default. Remember, the default is a keyword, the case is a keyword, the switch is a keyword. Remember, the switch has begin and end. These are curly braces. And remember that after each case, we have a colon, you see here. And after each case, we have the break keyword and semicolon. Is that clear, guys? So it's similar to an if statement with
What's the function
a
of the
lot
break?
of, yeah, I'm about to answer this, but let me just highlight a couple of things. The if statement is similar to switch, but the switch is very limited. I cannot convert every if statement to switch, but this is the style and this is the syntax. Now, what is the break? The break, as I told you, is to whenever this case is matched and executed, the break will enforce the compiler to exit the switch and to not go to other cases because they will not match. Okay, so just break to terminate the switch statements. You can do without, but if you do it on purpose, that might work. If you missed it by accident, this will give you some logical errors. We'll show you some examples. Okay, the break again is to stop the other cases and exit the switch statement. Now, to make it clear for you, here is an example. Switch day. Day is a variable of type integer. And here, as it says, assume that the day is 2. Okay, so case 1, is it 1? No. So the compiler will jump into the second case. Is it 2? Yes. Then we'll run anything here. But there is nothing here, and there is no break here. So that will make the compiler to jump to the third case, even if it is false, going to the fourth, even if it is false, going to the fifth, even if it is not matching the day. False means not matching the day number, which is 2, and printing this message. And now we see the break. So if it is within these numbers, so it's a weekday and break, now we can exit. Okay. So let me show you an example here. So 5 will print the weekday and will break and go outside the switch statement. See that? Now, if this is not the case, let's say the day is 6, then this will, the first case is not matching, will be skipped. The second case not matched. Third, no, 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 yes. If it is 6, then we can't. You see that? So in case that you need to skip or not the other cases. Let's take an example to help you understand this better. Just give me a second. Okay. So this is a new project to show you how to use the switch statements. In this program, we are about to accept an integer number and check what is the equivalent day of this number, okay? We'll assume the first day of the week is Monday. If the user enter 1, then Monday will be displayed. If there's 2, the Tuesday will be displayed, and so on until we reach the end of the week. Got it? This is the idea. So we'll do day, integer day, scanner, input. By the way, input is just a variable name. You can name it whatever you want. Just imports what's missing. And here we'll say day equals to input dot next integer. And now we want to check. You can do the if statement if day equals to 1. You know now why I use the Boolean equivalent, because I want to check, right? So this is in case that you want to use the if statement. If so, then you will type cout Monday, okay? And you can keep doing this, repeating if, and if day is 2, if the day is 3, if the day is 4. So instead of doing this way, it's much easier and shorter code that we can say switch. We are asking about the day, right? Begin and end for the switch statement. So switch, what is the status of the day? Now we will say is case, if it is 1, then display Monday and break. That's it. We good. It's just number 1 means represent Monday. And we can repeat this with 2. If it is 2, then what? It is Tuesday. Okay, we'll keep repeating this. If it is 3, then we'll say
Wednesday.
yes. Good job. And if it is 4, we'll keep doing this. 5. Otherwise, we can say what? Weekend. You see that? So here we go. Switch. We are trying to validate or check what is the status of the day based on the user input. If the user entered 1, then this case will be triggered and will exit the switch statement. If the user entered 4, then this will be triggered and will exit. If none of these numbers, we'll say default, this is a weekend or so. So here, one more thing, we'll display a message. Please enter a number of the day. So here is the message. The number of the day. Let's say 2. You see that? Tuesday. And that's it. It skipped other cases. And we matched this. The compiler matched this and reached the break. And we'll exit. I can run it again. I can enter 5. It's Friday. You see that? So it's switching from one case to the other. We can do this as an if statement, as I showed you, or a switch. Easy to be done in two ways. Okay, now let's run this, and let's say 6 weekend. Let's say 7 and on, even 8, 9, 10, everything else will be considered weekend. You can make it more restricted if you want to limit it to 7 days. But this is for now to make it simple and short. Now, any questions before I explain or give more details about the break statement? No questions? Okay. Now, let's assume that I forget by accident to do the break statement here in case 2. Did you see this? Case 2 has no break in it. It's Tuesday, right? So now let's run. Let's do normal thing 1, which is Monday. This triggered, break, done, exit. Now, let's say 2. What is the expectation here? What's the output? In normal situations. Tuesday, right? But here, look at this. Tuesday, Wednesday. You see that? Why? Because we didn't do the break here. We didn't do the break. So even if this case is not correct, it's not true, we didn't enter 3, but because you missed the break, the compiler will continue until it reaches the break statement, the next break statement. If I forget this one, what will happen? Enter 2, we'll see all of them, you see that? So we'll keep going, the compiler will keep running all the cases, even if they are invalid, but because it didn't see the break statement. So make sure to have them when you need them, but sometimes you may not need them. I will show you an example here. Case if it is 6, and case if it is 7, and default look at this. What did I do? I added the 6 and the 7. So I did nothing in the 6. So that means if the user entered 6 or entered 7, I want to have the same message. And here a break. So if it is day 6 or day 7, both of them will be treated the same, weekend, and then break. Otherwise, defaults, now it's invalid input. So let's run this again. 2, we are good. Tuesday. 5, we are good. Friday. 6, weekend. 7, weekend. 8, invalid. You see that? Now we covered the rest. Okay, you need to know when to use it and when not. So normally we used it, this is the norm, but in case that we have multiple cases that will be treated the same, then go ahead and do without the break.
If you wanted to find out when the next Monday was, could you put case 1, 8?
Comma what? 8?
8, because 8 would be Monday again.
Oh, the next Monday? No, yeah. It's
Well,
not the calendar. I am not trying to do the calendar here. I just do the numbers of days in a week. Okay, so 7 days in a week, and that's it.
Okay.
This is what we are about to do. But if you want to do the calendar, then you need to repeat the process or do the mod again to find the right one, because here we have 7 days. So using the mod operator to reset it to the right number within 7, to keep the numbers limited to 7.
Okay.
Okay. So this is all what I want to share with you tonight. And I know I gave you a lot of examples to help you to understand. My goal is to see my students learning and understanding. If they need more examples, I'm doing this for them. So that's why I gave you extra time to demonstrate all the concepts. And now we're supposed to do the lab, but we have few couple of minutes to start working on that and to meet your partner, agree on the details, what you will do, what's your part, what's his or her part, and you can combine the answers and submit one copy by the end of Friday. Okay.